Speed is probably one of the most important things in Path of Exile. The more speed you have, the more fun you have. If you never tried stacking speed, you probably don't know, so let me show you what ludicrous amount of speed looks like. And I mean thousands % of attack, cast speed and movement speed. Some of the things don't really work anymore in Path of Exile 1 because of the changes, because it was too ludicrous, too insane even for Path of Exile 1. Soul Eater builds are one of my favorite builds because you can literally stack 1000% of attack and cast speed to the point where your attack animation or cast speed animation becomes just non-existent. You just stand still and just spam skills. Or how about 3000% plus movement speed? This no longer is possible because of the changes. Now in my last video I raised the concern that Path of Exile 2 looks a lot slower, and I'm gonna play clips in the background. Look at how slow these animations look like, right? They are very slow. So I raise a concern. It feels like we're trying to slow down the game, and these animations look really cool, but how would the game look like if we could stack a bunch of speed in general? Would it break the animations? And we do have the answer for that. And if you are wondering, would Path of Exile be able to achieve these kind of speeds? I think technically the answer is yes, but practically we don't know. If items that exist in Path of Exile 1 are going to be transferred to Path of Exile 2 without any restriction, which is kind of unlikely, would be able to achieve these kind of speeds. They also mentioned that they do want to let players kind of break the game sort of, because once you stack that amount of speed, part of the fun is that it feels like you managed to break the game. You achieved the speed that was not intended, but it's still allowed. And I think that's part of the fun, and that's part of the reason why people don't want to lose speed, because it allows you to feel like overpowered. And Path of Exile is known for that flexibility, for that freedom for you to be stronger and faster than you would expect. Now our games have limiters, and for example Diablo 4 definitely feels more safe and restricted, and you're not gonna break the game unless it's a bug. But in Path of Exile 1 we have mechanics that are not bugs, that allow you to become this kind of overpowered. So I'm gonna find a clip where we discuss the animation speed and how it's gonna change with different speeds. Right, so I found a clip which discusses the animation speed. So I'm gonna play this clip and then I'm gonna comment on that.
So in order to keep things pretty, with the longer animations that we have, when you start to speed them up to ridiculous speeds, as happens in this game, if you've got a lot of detail in an action, that detail starts to get really messy. And so a way to combat that was we came up with speed variations. So at certain speed brackets, the animation of the attack will change to a slightly shorter version, which better suits that speed. And every attack has around 4, some of them more or less, depending on how speed affects them.
It basically means it's very hard for your character to feel like they're being played in fast forward. It feels like natural combat. That's what you're going through.
But it's also only so effective. At a certain point, you're just going to turn into a human blender again.
Yeah, when I say.
So based on this dev talk, I would assume that it's still gonna be possible to become insanely fast. Now we don't know about the modifiers, how much speed we're gonna be getting on affixes and other sources. Are we gonna be able to get things like Soul Eater, which allows you to stack thousands % of speed? We don't know in practice how it's gonna look, but if they thought out about the animation speed and different brackets, making shorter animations so that with the more speed it doesn't have to play the full animation to kind of squish it down, and it will become wonky. if we thought out about that, if we put efforts into creating these kind of different animations, like every weapon for every character, for every skill has to have a different animation, and on top of that, they set out for everything, for all the weapons, for all weapons, multiplied by all characters, multiplied by all skills, and multiplied by the different variations of speed of those animations. So every animation will have different versions of that animation to be a shorter animation to look better with massive speed. If we are putting that much effort into animating and creating these animations, I think that indicates that the game will allow you to be fast. What we saw in the demos, we said multiple times that the game was purposely made harder. Not just the character weak with like bad gears, but all the difficulty was ramped up. Like those animations definitely looked slow, and it's hard to just imagine how the game would look with mega speed. But now that we know that there are different animations, it really indicates that we are going to allow a lot of speed. So my concern about the game becoming slower, I think it's kind of fading away, because I think that we're still gonna be able to go fast, to attack fast, to cast spells quickly, and like overload the screen with a bunch of projectiles. They did recently modify Path of Exile 1 particle system to rely more on GPU. So if you're playing Path of Exile 1 and the next league you suddenly cannot really run it as smoothly as before, it's because your GPU is no longer, well, good enough. But that is because we are reducing the stress from, I guess, CPU and putting it more onto GPU. So all the particle effects are going to be relied more on GPU. And if your GPU was the weaker part of your, like, the whole PC, you're gonna struggle a bit more with Path of Exile 1. But I mean, GPU is usually the most expensive part of the PC, and at some point you just have to upgrade it if you want the game to look nice. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I just wanted to kind of showcase this part and maybe to calm down some of players that are too concerned about, well, not too concerned, but just in general concerned about Path of Exile 2 becoming too slow. It will definitely feel slower, but I think it's still gonna be possible to be fast. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.